What's going on, everyone? MVP here, bringing you guys week 4 of the NES Season 2 for your Detroit Darkrais. And this week we are taking on the Maine Red Clawitzers and Tone 114. Divisional opponent, very good opponent of ours, so we're looking towards a very good battle here. Let's go over my team real quick. So first, Rotom, actually packing a choice scarf set this week. Definitely a few different looks this week to play against Tone. Needed to shake the team up a bit and show some new sets off. So we got Scarf Rotom Wash over here. Heatran, we have a substitute leftovers Heatran. Bulky, full HP, well actually full speed, full special attack to outspeed things like Pangoro and like the Piloswine. Next we have Azelf. Azelf, just a utility attacker just to get off damage wherever it can. Metagross, a bulky physical attacker this week. Porygon 2, actually, very surprised set this week. So basically, one of the only ways you can really run Porygon 2 is with Eviolite, but this week I ran Z Crystal, Normalium Z. So basically the plan was it to be my Manaphy counter this week. And what I was going to do is I gave it full HP, full special attack, modest, so that it can survive a hit from Manaphy and then nuke it back with a Breakneck Blitz. But if something else was to come in Porygon's way, or if Manaphy was out of the way, then I'd use that Breakneck Blitz for something else like an Entei if it came. Obviously, it did not. And last, Amoonguss, just an overall tank this week. Regenerator and whatnot. Okay, so let's get right into the battle. So this first turn, lead Metagross versus the Zebstrika. So first turn here, he goes for the Volt Switch. My thought was that he might go into the Flygon, but then he might also predict an Ice Punch. So I decided to go for a Zen Headbutt to be safe. So he does bring in the Flygon. I do pick up a critical hit and a KO with the Zen Headbutt, which was very lucky of me. I wish I could have gone for Ice Punch instead so that it would have been a more legit KO, but I'll take it anyways. Good quick start for our team. So Metagross picks up a quick KO there. So he brings in my counter for the Metagross. He brings in Pangoro, goes for the knockoff, which is expected. Gets the critical hit back, which is completely fine. Trade critical hits. And so the Amoonguss down to 20%, so it's not looking too good anymore for the Amoonguss for the match. Pangoro does reveal Life Orb, which is very helpful to us, so we don't have to worry about anything like a random Scarf or something to outspeed. Just randomly get some outspeeds. So we see the Life Orb, but we lose our Black Sludge there, takes some massive damage. I feel, it's not worth to take another knockoff onto something, so I switch out the... No, I keep in the Amoonguss so that it will go down, and so I can get a free switch in. So here, this was probably a bad play of me. I go for the Flamethrower, and he goes for the Drain Punch, obviously picking up the one-hit KO, getting him up to 51% after Life Orb. What I should have done in the end there, either bring in someone else to attack, or rather have use substitute so he doesn't gain a whole lot of health back, and maybe Life Orb will do more damage than he's gaining. And then eventually I could have used the Flamethrower, obviously when he's more around 70% if I did get damage calcs or something like that. I also thought about running Fire Blast. I did not run Fire Blast. If I did, maybe that would have picked up the KO. But that was kind of a misplay on my part, so I lose Heatran very early on right away. Wasn't the best of things, still could have had some great usage, but we lose it here. So now we decide to bring in the Rotom. He decides to switch out into his Jirachi. I go for a Hydro Pump, almost 50%, which is very nice there. I go for another Hydro Pump. Unfortunately, I miss. That would have brought him down under 25%, so then he would not have been able to get off his substitute, but he does anyways. So I decided to just stick it out and Hydro Pump to get rid of the sub, because even if obviously you see Calm Minds, I can still be able to wear him down with the Hydro Pump. So he gets a couple of Calm Mind. I decided to switch out because Rotom, it'd be too risky for Rotom to stay in and try to Hydro Pump this one out. So I'll bring in my Azelf. I believe this was a physical set this week, so I go for the knockoff here. Pick up an easy KO on the Jirachi, yes. So here he brings in the Zebstrika. I forget which set I ran for the Instead I ran for the Azelf. If I ran the max speed, I think I predicted this thing to be choice specs. I might have not been like full speed, or Azelf could not have outsped, so that's why I switched into a Rotom to eat up a Voltazorb. So now he switches into his Manaphy. I just take this time to try and get a lot of damage off of the Manaphy. I get about 80% off, and he takes me out with the Shattered Psyche, which is fine by me. I needed for that to happen so then I can bring in my Azelf. So now I bring in the Azelf, go for the knockoff, pick up another KO. Pretty good for me. So now it's a 3v3. Here, as you see, the Substrika is faster than my Azelf, as I had thought earlier, and knocks out my Azelf. So now I'm down to 2 Metagross and Porygon 2. So I still got the kind of trick up my sleeve with Porygon 2. He still doesn't know it. So I bring in the Metagross here. I can go for the Bullet Punch. I get a crit, so it brings him down to 3%. So that was kind of lucky. I don't think a Bullet Punch would have. I don't think Bullet Punch would have brought him down to less than 10% if it had not been a crit. So that was actually very, very fortunate for me to set up these ending events. So here he brings in the Piloswine. So this is where I decide to reveal my secret. Go for the Breakneck Blitz. I do get the 1.5 special attack boost from the download, which was very lucky for me. So I could get some more damage off and like guarantee KO on the Eviolite Piloswine. So he brings in the Zebstrika, obviously 1v1 here. I go for the Tri-Attack because that will bring me my most damage. He goes for the Thunderbolt because that's his most damage. Does 50% to me. Does 93% to me. No statuses. He does another Thunderbolt and picks up the last 50%. So GG's to Tone. I'm going to explain the last 3 turns of that match real quick. So when he brought in the Piloswine, I brought in my Porygon 2. Basically those last few turns came down to damage rolls. So obviously he did not expect Porygon 2 to have, you know, the offensive set. So if Piloswine lived, he would have went for the Toxic, and then he would have tried to warm me down, you know, just outstall me. But I had Breakneck Blitz, so I 1KO'd it. And then when the Zebstrika came in, that was actually a damage roll on both the Thunderbolts and the Tri-Attack. The Tri-Attack was about a damage roll of 92% to about 110%. So unfortunately, I got a very low roll on that Tri-Attack. The Thunderbolt was actually about 45% to 55%. So he got at least two mid rolls. So that's what he wanted. Like he had like basically a 50% chance to KO me. And my odds was like a 62% chance to OHKO me. So unfortunately, I lost the damage rolls on those last 2 turns, but it would have turned out because on the Piloswine turn, he went for Toxic, and obviously if I went for 2 Tri-Attacks, which would pick up the KO, 2 Tri-Attacks would KO the Piloswine. If I would have done that, then I would have taken about 18% of damage, live a Thunderbolt, use my Breakneck Blitz on the Zebstrika and pick up the KO, but unfortunately that does not happen. So very good match with Tone and the Maine Red Clawitzers. Came down to damage rolls. You don't really want to come down to damage rolls, but sometimes it happens, and only one side of the battle can come out with the victory. So anyways, guys, we fall to 1-3 on the season, unfortunately. This is the same position we were in last season, so things can still turn around. You know, that was definitely a good match this week. You definitely could have done a few things different. But anyways, things happen, and you know, we lost, but great match anyway. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys next week.